When I click on this pen icon, which is called as author, this panel will open. Let us see what are the building blocks of Data Factory. So, like any other ETL tool, Data Factory also has similar features. So it will have source, it will have target, and it will have some transformation capabilities as well. At the left side, there are some menus called pipelines, data sets, data flow, connection triggers on the bottom. The pipelines are nothing but a set of activities. Now, what are the activities? Activities are nothing but actions. Actions can be anything like sending an email, transforming data, calling an exe file, or anything, copying data from one source to the other target. Data sets. Data set are the objects which hold the information about the input and output of any activity. It contains metadata as well for structured data. Data flows is a graphical UI similar to HSIS and Informatica, where we can drag, drop, source, sync, map the columns, and add the expressions. Connections. I click on connections now. Connections are similar what we have in ETL tool, which connects to the source, which connect to the target, which connect to any system. Under connection, there are two tabs, link service and integration runtimes. So the normal connection, what we talk, connecting to any storage, connecting to any database are called as link services. Integration runtimes are the machines which are running behind the scene, which execute the code of Data Factory. We can add as many as integration runtimes here. Triggers. Triggers are objects to enable us to schedule the pipelines. We are going to see all of these objects in detail in next video. Before that, I just want to tell you what are the different types of link services. So when I click on new, there are two types of link service we can create. One is data store and the other one is compute. So data store, where we expect our data to be pulled or data to be pushed. So there are a lot of data sources supported by Azure, which includes cloud sources, which include on-premise sources, which include non-Azure sources as well. On the other side, compute. So these are set of engines. Azure Batch, Data Lake Analytics, Databricks, HD Insights, and other 2-3 services, where we submit a data processing job on these compute engines. For example, I have one Databricks notebook or Python script. For that, I will use Azure Databricks. So my Databricks script or Python script will run on this Databricks cluster. So ADF will not have any control. It will just submit a job to this compute engine and it will wait for the result. As we saw, while copying the data from blob storage to ADLS Gen 2, there were two connections got created. First one is blob. When I click on this one, we can clearly see it has connected to move ingest. The other data lake storage service is nothing but our move curated 2020. Let's go ahead and see what is the pipeline. So this is the pipeline which got created when we copied the data using the wizard. We are going to see copy activity again by creating manual datasets and pipelines. So when I click on this pipeline, add a new pipeline, the new panel will open. On the left side, all the activities, all the supported activities are listed here. Let me close and reopen. Yeah. So there are n number of activities. Those can be visible when we expand these heads. This right side panel is our pipeline area where we can drag drop the activities. Let's say I use a copy activity. I need to just drag it, that's it. You can drag as many activities as you want. Web activity. These activities are connected with the paths. Path can be success, failure, or it can be skipped as well. So here on my screen, what you see, if first activity, copy data one activity, gets succeed, only and only then the second will execute it. Because I have added success path here. On the similar way, we have other path, failure, completion, and skip. Let's say I want to send an email on the failure of activity, and my email functionality is in the logic apps. Logic apps is called using HTTP endpoint. So I will say web. So on the success, this path will get executed. On the failure, the web activity 2 will get called. Similarly, whatever the status will be, I want to execute the next activity. We can choose completion. And if I want to skip any activities, for the timing, I can use skip. When I click on activity, the properties of the activity are visible on the bottom side. If you click outside of any activities, the properties of your pipelines are visible at the bottom. This is a pipeline name, what we see here on the left side as well. Pipeline 1 is pipeline 1. You can go ahead and rename sample pipeline. There are parameters, variables, and output. We are going to see all of these options in our upcoming session. Once we done with our activity coding with the drag and drop facility, we have to publish it. Once since this validation failed, I have not added any source and sink. It is given me error that the validation is failed. So once all the coding is done, we have to publish the activity, publish the pipeline. Data factory can also be integrated with code repository. So as of now, GitHub is supported. So whenever we do coding here, it will be directly pushed to the GitHub. Whatever we develop in Azure Data Factory, it can be pipeline, data set, data flow, trigger, connection. Everything is actually converted into code code is nothing but a JSON formatted file. So this is my pipeline name, and these are the activities. So I'm going to show you a couple of data sets. I just click on this one and click on the code. In the connection, you can see the code here. Since connection is a very sensitive information stored, the information is encrypted. Trigger as well. Whenever we create a trigger, the code will be built. And this is the integration runtime machine where the code will get executed. So this machine is managed by Azure and not by us. Let's say you have a scenario where you want to copy a data from your on-premise machine or from your private network. There we can add more integration runtimes with type of self-hosted. We are going to see how to install the integration runtime and connect to the self-hosted integration runtime and copy data in upcoming sessions. Similar to other objects, the code for this integration runtime will also get generated. Since I have not attached any nodes here, I have not connected to anything, the code block is empty. Let us see what happened when we created a copy pipeline using Wizard. This is the copy activity which got created automatically by Data Factory. In the source, I have one data set. In the sink, I have another data set. So this is the source data set which is visible here. And the sink, this is destination dataset which is visible here. Let us click on source dataset. It shows the CSV icon. So what we have chosen as delimited text type of file. In dataset we have link service. From where we are going to copy the file. So this is container directory file. We have specified source as a container. And there are other settings similar to any other ETL tool, like what you want to mention, whether first row is header or not, what is the code character, column delimiter. On the destination dataset, we must have a connection, Azure Data Lake Storage 1. And this is the container where we copied the file, directory file. We did not specify any, so those are empty. You can specify other settings as well. Schema we can see. Let me click on schema. This is the schema. We are going to see all of these objects in detail when we start our actual exercise on Data Factory.